I always say, it isn't the fact that we have problems. We're always going to have problems. The point is how you solve the problems. And you can solve the problems you're willing to work together. I had majored in political science when I was attending the University of Maine, and I had always planned to go to Washington to work after I graduated from college, but ultimately got married. My first husband was in the state legislature, and he was active in Republican Party politics. He said, well, you should run for office. He said, you always have an opinion on everything. So many people had approached me about running for his seat. Obviously, it was very difficult circumstances, but I contemplated it and decided that I would try. I loved public service, and I enjoyed the whole notion of helping people and making a difference. There wasn't much encouragement, by and large, for women to even run for office, but there was much support from the Republican National Committee. They were looking to have more women.
Hi, Olympia Snowe. Nice to see you today.
It was Geraldine Ferraro and Beverly Barnes and I who were elected in that election. And it was dramatically evident that there were too few women in the political arena. You had a male-dominated institution, so they dictated the decisions and the direction. But I had determined to go to bat for women, especially at a time in which women's voices were not being heard. The Equal Rights Amendment had been at the forefront throughout the decade of the 1970s without much success. But it did bring to the fore all of the issues and the inequities that existed in law. When it came to pay issues or to pension issues or to workplace issues, child support enforcement, it took us 7 years just to enact family and medical leave. It took a lot of determination, perseverance, and persistence. We decided to band our collective power in order to engineer the kind of changes that were important to women, because we realized if we didn't do it, no one would. Women bring a set of values and traits that are important to the legislative process. Their approach is oftentimes more collaborative, and that certainly was true in the House of Representatives and working in the Congressional Caucus with this bipartisan group of women who, irrespective of those differences, managed to drive an agenda that was so important to women in America.
Excessive political polarization in Washington today is preventing us from tackling our problems in this period of monumental consequences for our nation.
When I first began my legislative career in the U.S. House of Representatives, there was a willingness to work across the political aisle. I mean, it wasn't anathema. It wasn't akin to capitulation on your principles. It was a means by which you solved the problem. And all of a sudden, it wasn't about that anymore. It wasn't about the policy and what was best for the country. It became what was best for the political interests of a political party or a single issue and the next election. But it was not about governing. And that's what had changed dramatically. And that's what I could no longer accept, and decided that's why I'll take my fight on the outside. I think the best contribution that I can make now is to convey to people how it used to work and that it can work again.